made it 12-1 Yankees in a game that was 3-1 in the sixth. Eventually became a laugher.
Well, Aaron Judge coming up big in this one, 2 for 4 with 4 runs batted in. He now has 91 career first-inning home runs. That's third most in Yankees history. 53 homers in his career against the Orioles. That's most in the majors against any opponent since 2017. And his 382 career home runs are tied for 71st in history, tying Frank Howard, Jim Rice, and Ryan Howard. Right after the game, Meredith Marakovich caught up with the captain on the field.
Aaron, that's 4 in a row for this team. 12 runs tonight, 39 throughout the series. What allowed this offense to really ignite during this series?
They're just trusting each other, you know, passing the baton. It's just been one guy after another, just not trying to do too much and go up there and just do what the situation calls for.
You look at that, doing a little bit of everything, stolen bases, and you hitting the home run. Just do you feel like this is a more complete offense this year with the way you guys have been approaching it and playing?
Yeah, I think just run these same guys back who've been here, get another year in the Bronx, get another year in front of these fans. A lot of good things are going to happen.
You guys did not take your foot off the gas there in that 8th inning. What makes this offense so relentless?
We weren't losing today, you know, especially anytime you lose a Yankee legend like John Sterling. You know, that's a tough one, but the boys were fired up, ready to go, and really just fed off each other.
Well, it was a Judgian blast there in that first inning, your 6th first inning home run of the season. How much of a lift is it for the team when you're able to get on the board early like that at home?
Yeah, you got Cam on the mound. You just get him a couple runs, let him do the rest with our bullpen. So, yeah, happy to get a 2-run lead there and hand it off to him.
You mentioned the bullpen. How about the job that Jake Bird there did coming in the 6th inning?
Yeah, that was a ball game right there. It was a tight situation, bases loaded, to come out of there and escape that jam. That was the ball game and kind of sealed it for us.
Aaron, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Send it back to you.
Meredith, thank you. Aaron with his 14th home run of the season, and right now, he leads the majors. He passed Munetaka Murakami of the White Sox. He's been kind of in a mini battle with him all season long. But again, he is tops in the majors right now. And, Jack, it goes beyond, obviously, what Aaron Judge said. They just keep passing the baton.
Aaron, what did you think of the offense again tonight? It seemed like they were doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, good to see kind of everyone in on the act, too. Judgy getting us off on a good note there in the first inning. Thought Baz threw the ball well against us, but able to at least grab a lead there, and then just some real good finishing at bats the last couple innings.
It seems like he often hits home runs in the first inning, his 6th of the season. When he can get you on the board early like that, especially at home, just how big is that for him?
Yeah, I mean, huge, especially with, the way our starters are throwing the ball. Yeah, it's pretty good advantage to have that guy coming up in the first inning for you. So it's that time of the game where they, you got to attack them, and he's made them pay.
What do you think with Cam early? It seemed like he had a little extra to that fastball.
Yeah, I think he kind of discovered a little something in between, just delivery wise, that got him a little more power. I think he was having a little hard time harnessing it at the level he's used to, So, there's a handful of pitches that didn't do it exactly what he was expecting him to do. So, but he was electric.
How much are you holding your breath as comebacker after comebacker is kind of going towards him and he gets hit there that one time?
Yeah. With Wills the other day, I was a little more concerned because I felt like I saw it off his, that kind of bony area in the knee there. Camden, I felt like he got it off, kind of that hamstring, the meaty area. So my initial thought was felt better about it and just wanted to obviously make sure.
Brendan.
What was it like for you hearing over the loudspeakers at the end of the game the Yankees win?
Yeah, it drowned me out a little bit, happily. Yeah, I'm glad, because I loved when they first started doing that. So it was really good to hear.
Would you like to see that become like a regular thing here?
Yeah, I'd love it. Yeah. Right on into Frank.
Greg.
What did you think of Grisham's night overall at the plate and with that catch, too?
Yeah. Grish set the tone for us tonight. he's been the kind of the poster guy this year of hitting into some tough luck. Like I feel like in the last week, probably hit 7 or 8 balls on the screws for outs. So good to see him find some grass, couple doubles, obviously, a couple really good walks that were big in some run-scoring innings. So he set the tone really nice for us tonight. It was really good.
Who else? Howie?
You said Cam's stuff was electric, but they seem to be getting some really good hacks.
Yep.
The fact that he got through what he got through, is that like a step forward for him in his maturity, that he can kind of grind through that when they are getting good swings?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't get through the 6th. But you're right. The Orioles hit the ball. They squared some balls up against them. And I think that was a little product, whereas the stuff was really good. I think not that kind of next level of command that he's had all year, where he's throwing it how and where he wants. And, they pressured him, and kind of ran him out of there with 2 outs there in the 6th with some really good at-bats. I thought they had good at-bats all night against him.
Ron?
How did the decision to have John's initials on the caps come about?
I don't know, but I just know I walked in at some point today in my office and saw the JS on the back of the hat, and I thought it was awesome.
Meredith?
Aaron, huge spot there in the 6th for Jake Bird. Just what have you thought of him since he's been back, and tonight in particular?
Yeah, he's, I think, overall, it's been excellent. He's had 1 or 2 bumps in the road, but he's gotten a lot of big outs for us this year and some big wins for us. Tonight, that's the game hanging in the balance there. They're able to chase Cam, bases loaded. We get a pitch clock violation to start with the bases loaded. You're like, and he just gets right after it, fills it up, and gets a huge strikeout. So, it's been more of that than the 1 or 2 where he's hit a little snag, but he's been big for us.
What was the deal with all the pitch-com issues?
I don't know. I don't know, but it seemed like every single person that was coming in, so I don't know if it was a charging issue. I don't know.
In the back on the left.
Dominguez quietly had a really good series against the Orioles. What can you say about his added layer of power to the offense recently?
Yeah, I mean, JD's a good player, and he's had some good at-bats, I feel like. His speed is a real factor. So, yeah, excited for him to come up and immediately get in the mix and start contributing. And he's put together a couple really good games here.
Pete?
Aaron, do you think you'd have Ben Rice for tomorrow, or too early to tell you?
I don't know. Yeah, too early to tell. He was not available tonight, so we'll see on tomorrow.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yep.
When you talk about setting a tone in a series, Jack, and you're at home, you're talking about starting pitching. They get through that opposing order first time through. But then you talk about setting a tone in this series. It was the Yankees offense. They scored first in every game of the sweep.
Before games, the pitcher, the catcher, the pitching coach, they will have a meeting. And as teams are trying to conquer the Yankees, the name they probably go to first is Aaron Judge. And I thought what Boone said in his press conference was so appropriate. You've got to try and get around Judge in the first inning. Huge advantage for the Yankees. So you have Grisham, who has played very well recently, and the numbers had told you that was going to come eventually. He doubles. Judge hits a 2-run homer, and if you're Boz, you're on the mound 2 batters into the game. You're already down by 2 runs. Judge was 4 for 10 with 2 homers off Boz coming into the game. That's on his mind. He hangs a curveball. Judge hits it out of the ballpark. So the Yankees 20-3 when they score first, Bob. And ace researcher Max Kravitz wants to get all Yankee fans excited. When the Yankees have 24 wins and a plus 76 run differential through their first 35 games, it's only happened 6 times, at least those numbers. Yeah. All 6 times they've made it to the World Series.
Well, I love that. That's a dazzling fact, Max. Thank you for that one. That one steals the show. Hey, want to remind you the Yankees are back at it tomorrow on Yes. They kick off a 3-game rematch.
The Yankees post-game show on Yes is brought to you in part by Hyundai. Hyundai gives you America's best warranty on every new vehicle. Visit Hyundai.com for more information.
Back on the postgame as we talk more about Cam Schlittler. His ERA at 1.52 now this season. That's second in the majors. 4 strikeouts tonight gives him 137 through his first 22 starts. That's tied for third most in Yankees history. And he allowed just 1 run tonight, so 6 starts allowing 1 earned run or fewer. That is tied for most in the majors. Your pitching decisions presented by Sage. Schlittler going 5 2/3. Took him 95 pitches. The Orioles were getting the bat on the ball. They had 7 hits in this game. They went 3 for 9 against the 4-seamer, 3 for 5 against the sinkers. So those 3 fastballs, Orioles were figuring them out to an extent, though Schlittler got the win. Let's hear from Cam Schlittler in our Genesis Sounds of the Game.
Cam, you had a little extra on your fastball there early in this one. Aaron said he thought you found something in between starts. What was that adjustment that gave you a bit more velo?
Yeah, obviously I felt good. And just working on the timing part of it, and the mechanics and, the leg lift and the foot plant. So, again, I was able to put those 2 together and see those results.
Did you have difficulty harnessing that at times?
Yeah, obviously you get that little bit of a velo jump. I think, execution wasn't there today. Obviously, you could see the strikes were down. So, just got to make that adjustment, going into next start.
How big were the double plays for you this evening?
Yeah, huge. Obviously, the goal is to get the ball, on the ground. And, Cabby and Jazz made some great turns there.
You're not a guy that walks a lot of batters by any stretch of the imagination. Just in that 6th inning there, just take me through that inning.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Get on myself for the walks. It's something that you can control. So, obviously, again, Birdie's able to come in there and bail me out. And, again, that's a huge momentum shift for us. So, just got to work on that and try not to collapse there in the 6th inning.
What does it do for you when Judge hits a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 1st?
Yeah, again, he does that often. So, it's a great feeling to go out there with the lead and try and hold that. So, again, he's the best player in ball. So, it's a good feeling to see him do that, especially in the 1st inning.
Where did you get hit, and are you okay?
Yeah, hit the hamstring. A little bit of meat I have, so, again, not really concerned about it. So, didn't affect anything. I felt good with that, as I continued through the game.
What's it been like just watching after you're out of the game, this offense? It seems like, especially lately, they've just been not taking their foot off the gas at all.
Yeah, it's been great. Again, we've been on a really good roll, these last couple series. So it's fun to see, 1 through 9 contributing and putting up great at-bats and driving runs in. So, again, for pitchers, starters, relievers, it's a good feeling to have that support and, again, go in there, pitch freely, and, again, there's not much pressure there.
Offense really picking up Cam Schlittler tonight. So Cam Schlittler in this one, it's interesting because Aaron Boone said after throwing it how and where he wants, that's usually Cam Schlittler, wasn't quite the same case tonight.
Yeah, he talked about that added velocity, Bob. He actually ended up throwing his 6th fastest pitches of the season, but he acknowledged to Meredith that didn't throw as many strikes as he would have liked. But again, I said this about Max Fried after yesterday's game. The bar has been set very high for Cam Schlittler. He pitched into the 6th inning. He allowed 1 run. He still got the win, but when he evaluates his own performance, he's not going to love the fact that he walked 3 batters, that he had 10 base runners. Again, this is a guy who, coming into tonight's game, had walked 5 batters all year. We praised him on the pregame for that 8-to-1 strikeout-to-walk ratio. So if he can continue to have that extra velo and harness it better, Bob, he's just better than a guy who's already pretty good with a 1.5 ERA.
So they've got Max Fried and Max Velocity in their rotation. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
All right, we got to take another break. When we come back here on the W.B. Mason postgame, more on the Yankees win. Aaron Judge delivering big time. 4 runs batted in and a 12-1 Yankees win. Stick around. Those are your FanDuel Casino thrills of the game and thrills of the career of John Sterling as we celebrate his life. What a night for the Yankees, winning at 12-1. So they're 24-11 this season, best record in the American League. They've won 14 of 16. Their 4th straight win by 5 or more runs. and their first 4-game sweep since March of 2024. And, Jack, I feel like I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder that you've given us the past couple nights with the box score. But in going 6 of 10 with the runners in scoring position, they had 8 different players with hits, 7 different runners scored, 6 different players knocked in runs. That is spreading the wealth throughout that box score.
Yeah, it's up and down the lineup, and it's expected. The Yankees annihilated the Orioles in this series. A 4-game sweep. They outscored them 39-10. The Orioles rolled into town 1 game under 500. They were probably dreaming, hey, here's a chance to make up some ground against the Yankees. Now, they've dealt with a lot of injuries this year, Baltimore has, but the Yankees are the far superior team. There's a lot of baseball left. We'll see how the Orioles get themselves in shape from this point on. But the Yankees already look like they are in shape, Bob. And it's not just the offense. It's not just the great starting pitching. They are doing some things on the field that I think help them stand out as an outstanding team. It's running the bases better. It's playing defense better. It's just smart baseball around all around the field. And I also think an expectation. You listen to somebody like Judge saying, we weren't going to lose on the night where an icon like John Sterling was lost to us. But I think the Yankees feel that every night, and you can see it in the way that they're playing.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, night after night. That's going to do it for the WB Mason postgame. And stick around, because we have more coming your way on Yankees Extra Innings Live. We're going to hear from Ryan McMahon and Jake Bird. Extra Innings Live. Aaron Boone telling the media before the game that afterwards, and he's shaking hands after a win, he says, the Yankees win. The Yankees win. Imitating John Sterling, and he does it to this day. He did it again tonight, Jack. That was a great moment.
Classy gesture by Boone. I love that he told us before the game that he does do that. Yeah. I would not have known that. Of course, our camera crew made sure they caught him doing it on this night of all nights.
No doubt about it. Let's get to our turning points of tonight's game, brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge saying the boys wanted to get a win, not only for themselves, but for John Sterling, and they got it, and Aaron Judge was a big part of it.
Yeah, that's a hanging curveball from Boz, and Judge sends it into the bullpen. 2-run shot, his 14th of the season, his 6th homer in the first inning.
Big moment in the game, top of the 6th, 3-1 lead, and Jake Bird protects it. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Big sweeper to get Jeremiah Jackson and strand the runners. Top of the 7th now, 6-1. Tim Hill facing Dylan Beavers, and Ryan McMahon with a sterling play. And then bottom of the 8th, they tack on 6 runs. That's a big tack on, and so is Aaron Judge.
Yeah, Judge against his former teammate, albeit briefly, Lou Trevino, sends that one into left field. 2-run single, pushed the Yankees lead to 9-1 at that point. They tagged Trevino for 6 runs.
Everybody but Austin Wells had a hit. Having said that, Wells had 2 walks and 2 runs scored. Again, production up and down that lineup from everybody, including Ryan McMahon, including Jake Bird out of the bullpen. Let's hear from both of them post-game.
Ryan, what have you thought of the job that Aaron Judge has been doing setting the tone for you guys early?
I mean, it's incredible. The guy is all-time in everything that he does. Incredible baseball player, incredible human, incredible teammate. So it's just kind of fitting for him to be the guy kind of setting the tone, it seems like, every night for us.
39 runs for you guys throughout this series in the sweep. Just what has it been about this offense lately that has allowed it to click the way that it has?
It's good. Everybody's putting out tough at-bats. Even if they're getting out, they're kind of wearing the pitcher down and making it a little bit easier for the next guy. So just kind of stacking those good at-bats, and we're seeing the results.
For you, go ahead. What does it mean with all those 2-out runs? There are always 2-out hits. There's so many of them.
Yeah, those are big. I feel like those are big game changers, right? You come through with 2 outs, steal an extra run. Those add up, so it was good to see.
You did that in that 6th inning, driving in a run there with 2 outs. Just how have you felt? Do you feel like anything has kind of clicked for you at the plate?
Yeah, just working through it, trying to put up good at-bats. Just like I said, it's all about stacking good at-bats. If we keep stacking good at-bats, playing good defense, pitching the way we can pitch, hopefully we're going to win a lot of games.
Ryan, the play you made, is that just pure reaction, or is there a trick to it?
Luck, reaction, whatever you want to call it, but I'm just glad we got that out.
Do you ever look after plays like that and just say, how did that get into the glove?
No, just hope it keeps happening.
Jake came in a tough spot there in the 6th inning with the bases loaded. He had a pitch comm issue, other issues. How did you just stay even-keeled throughout that to get the out?
It's a position I like to be in, and it's really good to know Boone has trusted me in that spot, and I'm glad I came through. Cam did a great job, and I'm glad I could pick it up for him.
How much confidence does that give you that Aaron Boone goes to you in a situation like that?
It's great. That's my job, and that's what I get paid to do. And it's really fun to get in those spots and come through as well. And I feel really confident about him.
What's allowed you to execute since you've come back?
I just feel good in rhythm. I guess that's just trusting my stuff, trusting my plan, and being in rhythm.
Jake, what do you think has allowed you to get so much movement on that sweeper?
It's just kind of messing with the curveball for a long time since college and that little spike grip. When I finally started throwing the sweeper in 2024, that spike grip just felt kind of natural to me, and luckily picked it up pretty quick.
When you throw a good one like you had tonight, can you tell out of your hand?
Oh, yeah. It feels, it's hard to explain, but it feels really good out of the hand, kind of like you're almost ripping down on the seams.
What is going on with the pitch comm issues you guys were having?
I don't know what was happening with the pitch comm issues. I forgot to grab one. So that was my issue, I just was the airhead.
A mystery solved there. Let's go back to Bird coming in that 6th inning with the bases loaded, Jack, and he's behind the 8 ball after that pitch clock violation.
He just said he forgot to grab one, so now he's behind 1-0. But there's that sweeper he's talking about. He goes to it right away, Bob. He's going to throw it one more time. He gets the foul ball, so now he's in business at 1-2. Gets away from the sweeper. That cutter is up. You're 2-2 with the bases loaded. You don't want to go to 3-2. Throws the best sweeper he had thrown to Jackson. Gets a lot of movement on it. That's a pitch he throws about 40% of the time. He also throws a sinker and a curveball. But I liked his explanation to Brian Hoke of MLB.com, I believe it was, about how that spike grip just felt so good on that sweeper for him and how he knows out of his hand that he's thrown a good one. So that reaction afterwards, he had known what he had done there, stranding those 3 runners.
And Jackson on that swing looked helpless. You'd wonder if the pitch before was up so high, he was thinking sinker low. And then with that arm in the same slot, but that sweeper coming, he had no clue.
Yeah, they always tell you as a pitcher you want to change eye level, right? And David Cohn always says you can change eye level up and down. You can change eye level in and out. So he featured his sweeper a couple of times. That cutter was not a strike, but as you said, it was up in the zone. So now you've given Jackson a thought of, well, what else might he go to in this situation? He did go to his trusty sweeper there, and it got him the out he needed.
We will take another break. We got more coming up on Yankees Extra Innings.